Oh, they both got the fusion suit on. Gross.
You mean the bad suit? We should just disqualify whoever gets to the next round.
Neither of them taking the real-time strat in that elevator room, skip the cutscene.
Really only saves like 2 or 3 seconds real time, but
Ooh.
I guess every second counts.
Yeah, DCR seems to have having a little bit of trouble with that scan dash. Yeah, both of them off to go around and use the elevator. There's a really tricky bomb jump that you can do in that room to save some time.
I believe that the bomb jump saves about 8 seconds, so yeah, it's a very difficult bomb jump, so if you mess it up more than once or twice and you're not comfortable with it, then it's probably a better thing that they're not going for them.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of those tricks where some days I'll go for it because I can do it, and other days I skip it because I can't. It's just one of those kinds of tricks. Alright, so Icefire is coming up on Parasite Queen. Oh, DCR as well. Basically, you can just aim at her mouth and it deals triple damage. And if you hold C up and press missile button, you can fire about 3 missiles per second as opposed to like 1. So you kill Parasite Queen in about 4 seconds.
Evacuate immediately. Evacuate immediately.
Alright, so Icefire is deciding to go out of bounds. DCR is doing inbounds. Alright, so yeah, basically what Icefire was doing there is getting up the wall by holding a direction up against the wall and bomb jumping up. Making sure he doesn't fall. Because if you fall over there, you fall into the first room, or into the room that you had that very long elevator, and at that point, you're pretty much done. There's no way you're getting up, so you got past that. This room, to quickly explain what he's doing, basically every room is surrounded by a box, and inside that box there's normal collision, or normal physics. You can jump, move, but outside that box is a spot we call ether, and you pretty much are floating upwards very slowly, and you can't jump. But if you go outside the box, you have if you go from ether to the box, you have a 3-frame window to jump. This door is very, very picky. You have to like be on the very edge of the door for it to work. But yeah, not too many people do this because of how risky and how difficult it is.
Yeah, Icefire ended up not really saving any time off of that because he was having trouble doing a couple of transitions, but he does save quite a bit of RTA because he doesn't have to watch the Ridley cutscenes or the ILS cutscene.
Yeah. Oh, Icefire skipped the item loss cutscene, but unfortunately there's another trigger when you land on Talon. So even though you don't lose your items on Frigate, you lose them anyway. Which, that second trigger is why item loss skip in Prime 1 is probably never going to happen.
Unless you can find a way to move during the cutscene. Which, yeah, have fun with that.
423 for DCR inbounds. That's not too bad. But yeah, they were 6 seconds apart, or I think it was about 6 seconds apart in their escape time, but Icefire is vastly ahead real time because of that. Since we optimized by in-game time though, most people don't do that, or don't go for that wall crawl unless they can save a good 30 seconds. Yeah, I don't know why that second trigger is there in or when you land on Talon. I have no idea why it exists.
Because retro.
Fair enough. Alright, so Icefire's coming up and grabbing a missile expansion up here. Because you have space jump boots so early, you can just jump up and get that. And there's no difference between a missile expansion and the missile launcher besides one fancy cutscene. So, fully functioning missiles. So, and you don't have to deal with Hive Mecha, which is 1, very out of the way, and 2, very slow. Oh yeah, and he jumped over a fight trigger. DCR is about to get his set of missiles now. Ooh, yeah, he was trying. Icefire was trying to dash off the beetle to land on the tree, but unfortunately he didn't get it.
Here, Icefire pauses the map and goes on the map screen, and that forces the game to open the door after the loading is finished. I don't know really why that particular room does that.
Yeah, that room won't open until every adjacent room is loaded, but that room loads pretty fast. And pausing the map will force it to open, and as Essie said, we have no idea why. And it's only that room.
It's only that door, even.
Yeah. Yeah, having space jump so early in the game, because normally you're supposed to go through Chozo, get Varia, go through Magmor, get Boost Ball at Fendrana, then come back for Space Jump, and then go back for Wave Beam. At least we're looking at Fusion Power Suit for now.
Here you'll see them lock onto the door with a scan and then shoot a missile at it. This is a setup for a later infinite speed glitch that they'll use to get power bombs early.
Yeah, if they forget to shoot that door with the missile, then they have to go all the way back to Talon Elevator in order to cancel the glitch. Alright, so this boss that Icefire is on, we call him Zoid because the developer who created this boss, he... you basically have to hit his weak point, and it's random when it pops up. The first time it's between 8 and 13 seconds, and the other three are between 15 and 25 seconds. So there's up to 35 seconds of variance. So the best luck for DCR would be that Icefire gets the worst and he gets the best. That would close the gap by 35 seconds. It's kind of absurd what RNG can do here. At least the one-shot trick in Prime 1 is way easier than Grand Abyss.
Here, Icefire skips the puzzle. Normally, if you don't do a trick called IBBFAF, then you will have to do the puzzle soak because otherwise there's a locked door that you need to go past. But because he goes out of bounds in Gathering Hall, he is able to skip the door, and that saves a little bit of RTA and a little bit less in-game time.
Yeah. The trick was originally named Ice Beam before Flagra because you got Ice Beam before Flagra, but it's still used in 100%, but in any percent it's now faster to do it after. So we've decided to say Ice Beam before Flagra after Flagra. DCR took a safety save just in case, because after you beat Flogger, there's a trick to reset the layer of the room, and we'll explain more when Icefire gets there. But if you fail that, you lose a lot of time, so DCR is just being safe. Yeah, DCR did a bomb jump over the gate. Normally, you have to. There are four spots around the room you have to scan, and if you just bomb jump over the gate, you can skip that. Alright.
Here we get to see Icefire lose the only decent-looking fusion suit.
Oh my god. That's horrible.
Pretty awful. Phazon's suit is still worse, though.
Yeah, Phazon suit's really bad. Okay, Gravity suit isn't bad either. Phazon suit and Varia suit are both terrible.
I don't particularly like Gravity suit, but I don't particularly dislike it either.
Okay, so what Icefire is doing here is he dropped down to a certain point in the room. What this does is it resets the layer of the room he was in with Flagra to his. Ooh. Okay, hold up. Let's see if he can recover this. This could be very bad. But just to explain what he was trying to do, he's trying to bomb jump up there because he hit the trigger that changes the layer of the room to have the artifact of Wild and the ghost fight in there. Normally you need super missiles and spider ball. Yeah, this is. Yep.
He's gonna either have to die or. Yep, he looks like he's gonna just die.
He died.
Did he save? Did he save? I don't think
No,
he
he
did.
didn't. No, he didn't.
So he's gonna lose a bunch of time to DCR.
He didn't save it. Oh, he did not save at all. He didn't save.
That's 18 minutes down the drain. That's probably gonna determine the race.
That's bad. Wow. Yeah, that's why DCR safety saved. Failing that is really bad. He might have been better off letting himself fall. Alright, DCR managed to get it.
Yeah, I think if I were Ice there, I probably would have aborted at around 30 or 40 health, because it looked like he didn't really have any chance of getting up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he would have. I think you lose about 10 minutes overall if you don't do it, or if you fail it and continue. In a PB attempt, your run is over. Okay, so what DCR is doing with these ghosts is he was normally what happens is once you hit them, they just dash away, become invisible, and then you can't see them for a while. And when they appear again is random, and where they appear is also random. But if you shoot a charge shot at them, it kind of stuns them, and then you can chain it if you shoot them early enough, or if you shoot them at the right time, you can just chain stun them. Alright, so here, luckily you can just shoot 2 missiles, at that block or at that, pillar and get the Artifact of Nature. Oh yeah, just to quickly explain, since Icefire is back at Frigate, just to explain how Icefire got out of bounds. If you get stuck in any way, the game tries to reposition you, and if you morph in a specific way in that corner, the game repositions you to a standable spot out of bounds. Or actually, it just repositions you out of bounds. You have to like move your control stick in a way to where you land on a standable spot. Otherwise, you fall all the way down, and it's almost impossible to recover at that point. Although this escape was way better for Icefire. He got a 503. Which is pretty solid. Alright, so DCR just entered Fendrana. For the sake of the race, he's skipping that cutscene. But if you don't skip that cutscene, Samus walks forward a bit. And that saves about a second of in-game time. So we watch a good portion of the cutscene. Just to save a little bit of in-game time. There's a few places where we'll waste some real time, but it saves just a tiny bit of in-game time. Yeah, so normally you need to scan a terminal to lower the pillars down, but since we have space jump, you can just jump over. Okay, so DCR did a dash to land in a spot to be able to get out of bounds. He's going for Wave Beam, but also wants to go for the Artifact of Sun as well. So he'll get them both at the same time doing this out of bounds trick called Wave Sun. Alright. Okay, so one of the things we didn't explain about out of bounds is you need to load each room manually. So sometimes you might have to go to specific load triggers. Otherwise the room won't load because you'll just miss it out of bounds. And then you need to also manually go between each room. So by going on the door, either sometimes it's in a specific spot, sometimes you just need to be on the door and jump up, and that will transition the room.
DCR taking a little bit of extra time to line up that R jump.
Yeah, he fell the first time, so... yeah. Luckily for newer runners, this trick, like, all these out-of-bounds moves, like, they don't save that much time. So this isn't a requirement for newer runners, which is very good considering how difficult, like, these guys in a lot of cases make these wall crawls, which is a term for being out of bounds. They make it look easy in some regards. It's very, very difficult. Okay, so have fun with DCR pretty much having a morph ball that's still for 50 seconds. This trick is known as infinite speed. DCR is basically stuck up against the wall, and Sam is just spinning and increasing speed to the point where the game doesn't know what to do, essentially. So you go into the state called infinite speed, where if you boost, you'll touch almost every interactable actor at once. So by doing this, he's going to touch both the Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun. So yeah, DCR got... it didn't say that DCR got the Artifact of Sun, but he managed to get them both at the same time, so the text for Artifact of Sun isn't going to pop up, but he does have it. With Boost Ball, you technically don't need to bomb jump in that tunnel in Magmore, but it's so precise that it's task only. So yeah, DCR going through that room shows one of the reasons you want to make sure you're keeping your health up, because you can just boost through the lava.
Thankfully, since he has 2 E-tanks, it's a lot easier to do that than if he had not gotten the race tank.
Yeah, there's an energy tank in Magmore that many runners now don't get because it's lower to get it, but in race and I mean, we just don't want to die, so.
It really doesn't waste that much time. It's 8 seconds in game time, which amounts to 11 seconds real time.
Yeah, it's not much.
There's a few others in the run that you can also get. There's one in Fendrana in the labs.
Yep, there's one in Furnace as well if you do inbounds.
And while grabbing a lot of these E-tanks does take time, it's a lot of the times it's worth it to get them in runs because not dying is a good thing.
It's definitely recommended for newer runners as well.
As you can see what happened earlier to Icefire.
Okay, so normally you need Spider Ball and... Actually, I think you just need Spider Ball. But you can just dash across. Well, he failed that. There we go. You need Spider Ball and Wave Beam to get Artifact of Life Giver. Oh, you also need Gravity Suit, but we'll show why need is a subjective term here. What he's doing here is basically it's called a ghetto jump. What you do is sorry, oh my freaking god. You jump, you kind of like jump up a slope, and it will give you some extra height. It works a lot better in water than it does on land, or in water than it just does on land. Like, you get a lot of height off it in water, to the point where you actually don't even need space jump to get that artifact. You can just do a single ghetto jump. Yeah, so apparently in SGDQ, saying ghetto jump was apparently offensive, so they had to change it. They had to change to saying slope jump, so it's become a huge meme.
Hey, we didn't invent the term.
No.
Blame the people that came before us.
Yeah, in 2003. What was it? I think Quake and Prime were like 2 of the first speed games. Yeah.
So here DCR is doing the second infinite speed in this run. This one allows him to grab power bombs early, so he can grab the X-ray visor early and do all of mimes in a single trip.
All right, Icefire got really wild. Yeah. This actually saves a detour back to Chozo. For X-ray, you can just do everything all in one trip, and Life Giver, you can just do it all in one trip. So it saves a lot of time, even though it looks really slow. Okay, he got power bombs. Now, he has to be very careful to not unmorph. Ooh, did he boost again? That's gonna mess up his camera a bit.
Yeah, boosting there can be very risky because if you boost in the wrong spot, then your camera will go haywire and it's very difficult to control.
Yeah, and there are some instances when you're in infinite speed where the game can just crash. But yeah, if he unmorphs here, then he's gonna go into a state called Light Show, which you saw a little bit of it earlier when he unmorphed, but the fixed camera allowed him to morph back, but your beams don't work. Morph bombs do, but you can't see anything. And the only way to cancel it is to go into a cutscene that repositions you, which is why they shot that door earlier for the save station. Okay, DCR is going out of bounds again here.
Yes, he skipped the puzzle, so in order to be able to get past the locked door, he does need to go out of bounds and transition the room from out of bounds.
Yeah, luckily you can get around doors that you don't have the beam for, or locked doors by going out of bounds.
This also has the added bonus of being able to skip through Crossway since you don't need to go that direction. And as Zan mentioned, he does not actually need Ice Beam to go through that door. We'll see that.
Alright, DCR just decided to skip the puzzle, and that's it. So he went back inbounds.
So I guess he just decided to load the room around him. That's called a door warp. So instead of doing the rest of IBBF, he's opting to actually go around and go through Crossway instead of loading through the center.
Yeah, normally you need boost ball to get across there, but with a well-timed L jump, or you can just do an R jump, you can get across without boost ball. One thing to note is you'll sometimes see in their movement how they turn sideways. There is a speed cap forward, backwards, and up, but down and sideways there's no speed cap. So that's why dashing works the way it does. Because you can just abuse the fact that there's no sideways speed cap. Kind of like what Icefire did with that dash across Monitor Station. That dash can be pretty tricky.
I'll also mention that since DCR opted to do the door warp instead of doing full IBBF, he is not going to be able to skip the ghost here, which saves a little bit of time later in the run.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the full wall crawl saves anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, and if you get ghost skip as well towards the end of the run, it saves an additional 20 to 25 seconds.
Different people will actually tell you different times. These are all estimates.
Yeah, I've heard 10. I've even heard 20 for the wall crawl, so I don't even know anymore. It's all estimates. But at the end of the day, it's not a huge amount of time.
I like
Yeah, these wall crawls save a lot more real time than they do in game time because you skip a few cutscenes.
Yeah, responding to some of the questions in the chat, if you actually fall during an out of bounds, often you'll lose up to a minute, sometimes more, depending on where you fall. So messing up can be very costly, so that's why you'll see a lot of the newer runners not even do the out of bounds.
Yeah, Icefire is coming up to the Wave Sun wall crawl. If you fall in this first room, it is very bad. This is probably one of the worst rooms to fall in.
There's several rooms, even inbounds in Metroid Prime, where falling can cost you a good chunk of time, especially in Deep Friendrana.
Yeah, Far Findrana has a lot of really tall rooms. So if you end up, and at the bottom of those rooms, they have water. And since you don't have Gravity Suit, it's extremely slow to get back up.
Icefire is having difficulty getting
Icefire
the
got
position
stuck.
for Wave Sun.
He's soft lock. Wow.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that Icefire can catch up now. He's just too far behind now.
Yeah, what you do in Wave Sun is you transition to the room between the room he's in and the Wave Beam room. And if you're in a room that you're not transitioned to, that can cause some major issues. Where sometimes if you go up against a wall in certain spots because the collision's a little bit different, you can get stuck. The only way Icefire can get out of this is by doing an infinite speed to get the wave beam. However, he's still stuck in the room. There's no way he can get out of the room at that point. So either way, he's screwed. It looks like he's doing the infinite speed now just for a little bit of fun. But there's a gate in the way, and there's no way you can get past it.
Sometimes if you get stuck in the wall at the right angle, then it's actually possible to infinite boost out, but that really requires you to be stuck at a good angle, which it looks like Icefire is not stuck at a good angle.
If you see sparks, you can't get through your stuff.
It looks like Ice got out.
He got out? Wow, that is insane. That's crazy he made it out. I'm actually very surprised. I thought it was gonna be over.
He's still a good amount behind. It's going to be difficult for him to catch up to DCR.
Yeah.
Pretty much at this point, DCR is going to have to make a major mistake, which there isn't really anything super hard except for maybe shafts, but he would have to spend a long time in shafts in order for Icefire to be able to catch up. Because shafts, if you mess them up, doesn't really waste minutes like you would waste minutes out of bounds.
Yeah, the other thing that could get DCR is Omega Pirate. While Omega Pirate, once you understand him well enough, isn't that difficult of a boss, he can kind of screw you over if you're not careful.
DCR is having issues with the dash here. The trick about this dash is if you are straight up against the wall, the game is not going to allow you to get very much speed, so you need to actually be a little bit off of the wall in order for you to do the dash.
Not even just that, the game won't even let you walk onto the spider track.
Well, you can still lock on, but you're just not going to get any speed.
Yeah, then why won't it let you lock on at times? I think that might be if you're too high.
That's pretty much going to be positioning.
Alright, so yeah, DCR is about to get Plasma Beam, which normally you need Grapple Beam and Spider Ball, but you can just do an R jump onto the first platforms to skip Grapple Beam. In Player's Choice, the door is completely locked until you have Grapple Beam. It will not open. So yeah, DCR is just doing some ghetto jumps onto the spider track platforms, and you don't need Spider Ball.
It's really convenient that these jumps exist because the Spider Ball puzzle is actually quite long.
It's really long, really inconvenient. Yeah, DCR is probably one of the only people who's done 22% Player's Choice, which is the lowest percentage you can get on that version. Normally low percent 21%, but you need Grapple Beam in Player's Choice because otherwise you can't get Plasma Beam.
It's also incidentally the lowest percent that you can get without doing out of bounds. However, for obvious reasons, that's difficult to do when you're on Player's Choice.
23% on Player's Choice. Yeah, so normally you need Spider Ball, but pretty much most of the things in this game are standable, so you just land on that platform and jump up to the door. Yeah, normally you need to knock down a stalactite, but oh wow, DCR is very low on life. He's got to be extremely careful here before he can die. But normally you need to lock down a stalactite, but you can just dash over and do a jump there. Hopefully he doesn't die here. Right.
He just got the pirates, so there's not really anything that can damage him in this room, but once he goes back to Frost Cave, he does have to watch out for that Hunter Metroid, because he'll probably just end up killing it, since he's so low on health, and if he gets hit by the Hunter Metroid, that will kill him.
Yeah, so in Metroid Prime 2, the game prioritizes drop rates based on your missile count, your health count. Metroid Prime 1 bases it on the room itself and doesn't really care. If you're low on health, low on missiles, it'll be like, oh, you're at 2 health? Here, let me give you 5 more missiles. Yeah, he's looking for the Hunter Metroid now.
There's actually a save station right off of this room that
Ooh,
I
that
don't
was
know if a
really
lot of
close.
runners know about. We'll see if he. He looks like he's not going to. Oh, he is going to take the save. Okay,
Yeah, he knows it's
that
there.
is smart.
Because in order to do that room fast, or in order to do the next few rooms fast, he needs some more help than that. He would die.
Normally, you will never see that room in an 8% run.
Oh, he got a power bomb off that Hunter Metroid. Hopefully he got it.
That is, he didn't get it.
No, he didn't grab it. And Icefire also missed the hole in one. So yeah, after you leave Fendrana, there is an elevator to the Phazon Mines in Magmore that you need to go to, but you need a power bomb because there's a wall of Bendesium in the way. So he's going to rely on luck here.
Each crate and control tower has a 2 in 7 chance of dropping a power bomb. However, we've seen runners get screwed by that before, so let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Oh, also in this room, he entered the room backwards, so he needs to be careful not to get too close to one of the pirates, because one of those pirates, we call him Edward, he has a specific trigger, and he'll jump through that glass. If he doesn't jump through that glass, there's no way he can get in. Which, normally, he's only supposed to jump through after you killed Metroid, so the fact that it even works in the first place is incredible. There'd be a completely different and slower route if it didn't work. Because you need to come here for the Artifact of Elder. And yeah, there's a barrier here, but you can just jump over and shoot a missile at it. So yeah, no, Icefire making sure that he doesn't unmorph as well, or it's pretty much over at that point. Alright, so DCR has a power bomb. So yeah, now Icefire is also going out of bounds and doing Ice Beam before Flog, although I think he's doing the entire thing. Yeah, he is. Good. Yeah, so sometimes he's like landing on what seems to be random spots for no reason. What he's doing is he's hitting invisible load triggers to make sure he loads the room. Otherwise, you'll miss them while going out of bounds normally, and the room won't load at all. So DCR is now heading into the phase on mines.
That rebel right there is the reason that we need that extra power bomb drop.
Alright, so normally you need to fight this elite pirate in order to get up to the next set of rooms, but yeah, no, you can jump on a few pieces of collision and just jump up over. There's no need to fight him. Alright, one thing to note about these elite pirates is they don't start attacking you until they have direct vision of you. Until then, they try to get direct vision around you and start just turning like idiots. So DCR abused that. Alright, so these mazes that pop up are completely random. There's over 300 possibilities, if that's correct.
So 35 square that he got.
Yeah.
Which is just below average. Average is roughly 38.
Yeah, so a little bit below average in terms of number of squares. Yeah, the software that I'm using was created by Miles, Maze Finder. And you just input, there are 3 specific squares where you input which sides don't have electricity. And it'll give you the amount of squares. It's anywhere from 15 to 55, odd numbers only, and no 53. Which one?
I'll actually link the software in chat if anybody is curious about running the game and they want it.
Yeah, so we had to go get main power bombs because there is an artifact that is guarded by a Phazon elite pirate, and he's trapped inside an enclosure that will not break open until you have the main power bomb. Even if you have a normal power bomb, it won't work. The trigger just doesn't exist. Yeah, so normally you need Spider Ball to get across, but you can just dash off that Metroid, or you can also dash off it in Missile Expansion.
their DCR is doing a little bit of swag by jumping into a corner where he can't fall down. And since there is an invisible wall that moves with the elevator, once that invisible wall has moved far enough down, you can actually just jump in there for swag points.
Yeah, so he fell in Fungal Hall A. This room is one of the worst. Because it just has a bunch of Hunter Metroids, and Hunter Metroids are probably the worst of the Metroids.
He was attempting a recovery strat there by jumping on the stem of the mushroom, and it's possible to get back up, but that jump is not easy.
Yeah, you learn that jump pretty quickly if you try early newborn. Which, there is a way to get an artifact called, or the artifact of newborn early by going out of bounds in the room DCR was in earlier. But getting out of bounds there is extremely difficult, and even if you do manage to get out of bounds, it's easy to soft lock. So, I believe only 2 players right now do it in runs, and that's Justin DM, speedruns, and Heroics. So the only 2 right now who do it.
Yeah, it's pretty much at the moment not a safe strat for any kind of race.
Yeah. And it's also not a strat even a majority of good runners use. Like only some of the top runners do it, and that's it. DCR did not save before Omega Pirate. Oh, he's taking this really risky.
He's starting to fight with 126, 115, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so if you go to the right, or either to the left or the right, if you're a certain distance away from Omega Pirate, he'll still be in the cutscene, even though you skipped it. And just like the elite pirates, he'll just turn around like an idiot until he has direct vision of you. Did you get troop skip? I think he got it. Oh, no, he didn't.
He missed it.
I think he laid it early. So...
He also got wave troopers, which is very bad luck.
That's second worst. Power is probably the worst.
At least with power, if you hit it, then you don't need a fully charged shot on the last shot.
True.
So if you can hit all of your shots, which is a variable in and of itself, then it's slightly better, otherwise it's worse.
Yeah.
Neither power nor wave troopers are good to get it in a run, though, which is why we do trooper skip to eliminate the RNG.
It also saves time, skipping an animation. Okay, so basically the way Omega Pirate works is he'll spawn in one of the 3 pools. The rule is he spawns in the pool furthest away from you, and he won't spawn in the same pool twice, so he was able to manipulate exactly where Omega Pirate would be. And the other thing is, Omega Pirate can be damaged by power bombs, but you have to make sure X-ray visor is brought up before it hits him. Because the way Omega Pirate takes damage, it's tied to the visor. So X-ray is absolutely required in order to beat him. You can't do it without. And yeah, you saw Gravity Suit because this game, the cutscenes are based off the last, or it goes, when you get a new suit, it goes to the next level, or it goes to the next suit. So it's Power, Varia, Gravity, and Phazon. Well, we skipped Gravity, so it showed Gravity Suit as opposed to Phazon. But he does have the Phazon suit. Yeah, DCR got pretty lucky with he got an ultra drop there, which gives him 99, or it gives him a full E tank of health, which is very lucky considering what happened. He had a really good Omega Pirate fight. The risk definitely paid off for him.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a whole lot that can happen. I mean, there's places where you can take minor damage, but there's not really any particular places that come to my mind that you'll be taking heavy damage, so there's not really any risk of DCR dying at any point in the near future.
Ooh. Yeah, we mentioned in Far Fendrana that falling can be very bad. This is why. This is one of the tallest rooms, and he now needs to climb all the way back up.
Yeah, and this can easily cost close to a minute if you don't know all of the shortcuts to getting back up.
Even then, it still costs a lot of time. He fell again. So yeah, normally, what DCR did, normally you need, I'm not sure if he made it the first time, off the pirates, but normally you need Spider Ball and Grapple Beam, but you can just dash across. It's way easier with the Metroid than it is with the pirate. Yeah, so he charged a plasma shot at the wall there because a charged plasma shot has a huge hit radius. Oh, I'm watching the wrong I'm ahead. But yeah, he did that to make sure that he didn't have to shoot it after the power bomb was laid. Okay, DCR, what he's about to do is that elite pirate he skipped earlier, well, it's still there. But you can just jump over the trigger, and he almost got it, but accidentally went a bit left. There's just enough room between the wall and the trigger for you to squeeze through. But unfortunately, he missed it.
The trigger actually starts, like, literally right in front of where he jumps on top of that one, I guess, pillar thing. So there's just barely enough room for you to be able to squeeze in between a standable spot and the trigger.
Yeah. It's pretty costly time-wise to miss that. Definitely in real time, a little bit in-game time. But he's not hard to beat. The problem is you need 24 missiles to quickly kill the Phazon Elite Pirate coming up. So not having 24 missiles slows you down there.
He did have the opportunity to refill his missiles a little bit there, but he's still down a few missiles, so he'll have to finish him off with a charged plasma shot, unless he gets another missile drop.
Alright, so what he's doing is he's trying to climb the spider shafts without Spider Ball, and there's a small piece of collision that you can jump to by doing what's called a bomb space jump. If you unmorph, you have to do an instant unmorph, which is when the camera block. If you can block the camera from seeing Samus, then you'll get an instant unmorph. And you have about 21 frames from when Samus leaves the ground in order to jump. So he managed to
DCR
land.
really struggled there with Shaft 1. That BSJ there is pretty precise, and that's a very common way to lose time. But it looks like he got Shaft 1 and he's moving on to Shaft 2. Shaft 2, really the difficult part of Shaft 2 is getting onto a very precise point on a rock above you. So we'll see how he does here. There's not really any tricks, but this rock is very difficult to get on.
Oh, wow, he fell off the electric gate thing, whatever it's called, I don't know.
Yeah, the electric gate, it's not particularly difficult, but you need to make sure that you do the jump before it actually is under you. So it's really just a timing thing.
Yeah.
The difficult part is landing on the rock, though.
Yeah,
some people think that Shaft 1 is more difficult. Some think that Shaft 2 is more difficult. It really depends on the runner. Neither of them are easy, and they are a common source of lost time.
Yeah, that rock is pretty much the reason why Shafts 2 is difficult.
Oh yes, and this power pirate right here, his name is Calvin.
We hate him.
He's an idiot.
So yeah, this is the enclosure that will not, it won't actually pop open without having main power bombs. Which is actually one of the interesting things between Prime and Prime 2 is both games require you to get the main power bombs in order to beat it. Just one of the little parallels between the two games.
DCR opted not to overlap the cutscenes here, which can be pretty dangerous if you actually miss the overlap and don't have the platforms fall.
Yeah, if you get the overlap but the platforms don't go down all the way, there's no way you can get them to go down. You're screwed at that point. You gotta do some really tricky bomb jumps in order to get up. And you can't go out the other way because if you go out the other way, there is an invisible barrier that you're supposed to knock out in the first room of Phase Online. Well, you don't actually go there until the very end. So you don't knock down that barrier, which means you can't get through. Nice. That jump, that last jump onto that spider track is one of the trickier jumps. Yeah, you can reload the room as well. So yeah, DCR just left Mines. He's now going to get the Artifact of World. Yeah, so Icefire did a really weird jump there. Because if he just jumped forward instead of jumping on that platform, or that small platform he was on, there's an invisible wall that you have to get around. So he made sure he got around that. Alright, so I think DCR got a 31 square maze, something like that. We'll see what Icefire gets. Nice. There are 4 possible mazes. Why? Oh no, I got this completely wrong. Well, rip.
Looks like he got a 33 square maze.
Got 33.
So slightly better than DCR, but relatively similar mazes.
Yeah, I screwed up inputting everything. So yeah, DCR is doing a ghetto jump off the stone toad in order to get up here faster. Icefire didn't get early wild. No safety saves. Yeah. Oh, for the Maze Finder program, big shout outs to Miles because he managed to take a look at every single maze and then drew the maze and their solutions manually into the program.
Icefire failed wild, and then he also got stuck in the wall during Wave Sun.
Yeah, DCR tried to dash to go from the ship to the door. That's a pretty precise dash. Yeah, so the door to enter the it's one of the longest. That'll take 8 seconds for the longest one over Prime 3, which pretty much almost every door takes about that long to load. Alright, so facing Ridley here, there's a flying phase and then a ground phase. You can boost into the flying phase and take out all of its health. All the health for the flying phase, which is 3/4. Because Boost Ball deals about 50,000 damage per frame. And for
normally, when we're doing runs, that's normally something you want to do, but since this tournament is RTA, that actually wastes a little bit of RTA, because you get a cutscene if you do that.
Yeah, so you wait until after. Nice shot. You can't. It's really difficult to hit Ridley's mouth when he tries to charge at you. But you can just manual aim above and you're fine. You can also hit Ridley as he turns around. But that shot's a little bit more difficult.
So in terms of gameplay, DCR has about 9 minutes of gameplay left, obviously subject to RNG, and Icefire has quite a bit more left, so this is pretty much going to be a clear-cut victory to DCR.
skip having to jump a bunch of platforms that you have to jump upon. So it's faster to do this. Alright, so Metroid Prime has 4 phases, or going into 4 subchambers, and the color she is bases on the beam that you can damage her with. So, for example, yellow here, you can use power. The first subchamber is just power and wave once. Second subchamber adds an ice beam. Third subchamber is all 4 beams once. And the fourth subchamber is pretty much completely random. She will go into whatever beam she feels like. And will sometimes change beams in the middle of a phase. The only way you can stop that, really, is by manipulating her to use her melee attack. Yeah, now that we're in subchamber 2, you can try to snipe Metroid Prime, because there are certain spots as she's charging where she's vulnerable, and then once she turns around, you can also land a shot there. That's pretty important to do with ice and plasma because of how much damage they do. Basically, ice and plasma deal roughly double damage in comparison to power and wave. That's not the exact numbers, but it's almost double damage. Extra things in subchamber 4, like sometimes Prime will sometimes Prime will just do everything a lot faster. Which, if you manage to end a phase while that happens, good luck trying to snipe. Yeah, DCR needs to make sure that he destroys those things. They deal a lot of damage. And if they are active when Prime is defeated, they still linger, so you can actually die from it. Alright, so now we're getting to the final boss. This boss basically Essence lays a pool of Phazon, and that Phazon is the only way you can damage her. So right now he's waiting. And now that the pool is laid, he's standing in a specific spot to manipulate where she will be. And then the reason he's walking in and out of the pool is if you walk into the pool, get a shot, and then walk out of the pool, it doesn't drain the pool.
So a little bit more about how these pools work. Each pool has a value that starts at 10, and once Prime lays a pool, a counter that starts at 25 will begin counting down. But for the first pool, you have a cutscene, so you actually only get 21.5 seconds. So basically the idea is you go in and out of the pool to save as much as you can, because every time you walk out of the pool, you get a little bit of an extra shot. And once that timer reaches 0, you just, since the pool will start counting down, like, the pool will start depleting on its own, so you just shoot whatever's left. And if you do it well enough, then you can get a 2 pool. But sometimes, since that is difficult to do, some runners will actually try to attack cancel, so Metroid Prime will lay a pool earlier and instead go for a fast 3 pool strat. So
Looks like DCR got it in.
DCR did manage to get the 2 pool.
That's really good. Nice. Yeah, attack canceling is pretty much letting, or waiting for Prime to start the attack and then shoot to cancel.
Icefire is going for Ghost Skip right here. We'll see if he gets it. There's basically a trigger that he just jumped over. So he just got the first part. The second part here is he needs to unmorph onto it and then do a dash. It looks like he got it.
Yeah, the reason he needs to do that is because he skipped the fight when he did Ice Beam before Flagra earlier. Yeah, now he needs to do a ghetto jump off the statue, because if he tries to go back up without using that statue, he will hit the trigger and have to fight the ghost. Okay, that dash he did there, he tried to hit the load trigger for the room, because the fastest way to get to the next room isn't always by getting to the door quick, or the fastest. Sometimes the fastest way is to get to the load trigger and then get to the door. Yeah, Icefire saving at the ship now. Yeah, Icefire just wrote us a little something on the wall. Again, that room is the longest room to load. So.
Still way shorter than Corruption load times.
Yep.
There are actually rooms in Corruptions that take over 20 seconds to load.
There's a small, I think there's a small room in, I think it's in Elysia that takes 22 seconds. But I don't remember exactly where. Yeah, so it doesn't look like Icefire got flyby skip. Oh, it's in Brio. It's in Jungle Brio. It takes 21 seconds. Thanks, DF.
It loves me some interlaced cutscenes on DCR's stream.
Yay. So yeah, there's actually, ooh. It's weird, he didn't get the boost in time, so Ridley flew away and then came back. This is the cutscene we were talking about earlier. The other thing is with Ridley is, if you hit him, there's a 1-frame window where before he flies away, you can hit him, and he won't fly. He won't fly off. He'll just fly down and then come up. So it's called flyby skip. It saves quite a bit of time, but again, it's a 1-frame window.
Unlike hitting him while he's in the middle of the air, if you actually hit him on that frame, you will not get the cutscene. He'll just, for some reason, he just flies under the level and then just immediately lands. And Icefire dashing off of the invisible scan point right there. If Ridley does not destroy all of the pillars, he can actually still dash off of the scan points even though they disappear during the cutscene. So
Yeah, for some reason, those
cool glitch there.
Yeah, so these fission Metroids are only in this room in Zero's, or in the original version of the game. In Player's Choice, and I believe also in Player's Choice, but I know definitely in PAL, the fission Metroids are added in more places. Okay, I've just been corrected. The fission Metroids are added in different spots. Not 100% sure where, but they're added in additional places in only PAL and the Japanese version of the game, not in Player's Choice.
Interestingly enough, Retro did not fix the glitch with Ridley where sometimes Ridley will just go invulnerable, because fixing bugs that actually affect the game negatively is definitely not a good idea, apparently.
Yeah, I forget when you hit. I think it's if you hit Ridley a little bit too late, like 7 frames too early, or first 7 frames of the last 7 frames, I believe it is. Then yeah, Ridley will go invulnerable. So what Icefire did there was attack camp. So my audience. You're no fun. Yeah.
Ah, yes, the grayscale. Some capture cards just don't handle the weird interlaced cutscenes in this game very well.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't really know why, but they support progressive scan, but some of the cutscenes are just interlaced anyway, so you get this weird effect where half of the lines look like they're black.